Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 16 of my Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. The last episode was insane. We had a lot of stuff happen. So, the crime has happened. Mr. Windibank, as I predicted was going to happen, has been murdered. And it seems like Gina is being set up as the culprit, seeing as she was in the room, locked room with him with the gun in her hands. And in the process of that, unfortunately, my boy Sholmes got shot. And I can't handle it. I hope he will be okay. I'm sure he will be okay. So Sholmes is out for now. Also, Susato has been summoned back to Japan because her father apparently is not doing well. So we might lose, Susato soon. Sholmes is out of commission. Gina is being accused of murder. So poor Ryunosuke has a lot on his plate right now. But thankfully he's got Iris as like his temporary buddy. And we managed to convince Gina to let us be her lawyer, or at least do some investigating. So let's get into this. Let's try and find out what the heck happened, and let's hope things go a little bit better this episode. Alright, now that we got those papers, we can actually do some investigating. Another thing, too, is learning that Gina actually lied on the stand for McGilded and covered up something. So the night of that murder, he had the jacket and told her to bring it to the pawn shop. So obviously that has something to do with the murder and those music discs as well. So that's interesting. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. She's like, I put cocaine in that. Because people put cocaine in, like, medicine and stuff back in the day. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door, behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. Watch, we're going to be on the scene for 5 minutes and find stuff that they missed after looking for days. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then. Let us not waste any time. Oh, Susato, I really hope that you're not actually leaving us, but it seems like that's the case. That's why we have Iris, so she's going to be like, the replacement. And Iris is cool, but Susato is... she's one of my faves. That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh, well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? I don't have the heart to tell her we already did this with Sholmes, but... What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Now this here, this like stuff on the ground. Can I check this out? No? Apparently not. There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Windibank's notes, and... Oh, the cat! The cat picture! That's what Gina gave us! What's this? It looks as though someone had left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Ooh, show us, Susie. Show us. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited. 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Are we not going to talk about the blood? The fingerprint? Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I'd never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand. But this photograph of a cat, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere recently. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh, maybe that means there's something writing on the back of that one as well. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out! Alright, alright. Let the cogs turn. Yes, they are exactly the same. Well, if the one on the counter was used as a redemption ticket, perhaps the other photograph Gina gave us has something written on the back too. I've got it. These 2 photographs hide an amazing secret. A secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really, really, really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Is it one of those things that that goes... The pictures that go in the thing that Sholmes was looking at? It's like that thing, it makes the pictures look like they're moving? Okay, so before we do that, let's... court record. So let's see if I can check this out now. Yeah, there we go. I guess it would make sense, right? She would get a copy too. Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposited, 1 small box. Oh, it's something completely different. Loan amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th of April, 9 p.m. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket for an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus, it would seem. Yes, a small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Perhaps it contains some valuable mementos. I can't help wondering. Presumably, Mr. McGilded never redeemed the article in question, since he still has the ticket. So, isn't it possible the box is still present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes. If it's something McGilded deposited, we need to investigate. Alright, now let's talk to Iris and see what she has to say about those pictures. So, Iris, about these 2 photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter, and the one Gina gave us before. What is it, this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between the 2 identical pairs? Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry? If you look carefully, the 2 prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the 2 prints? Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't... This pair of photographs is meant to be... Ah! I called it! Heck yeah! It's meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures looked almost real enough to touch. I feel if people of the 1900s, if they had a VR set put on them, they'd lose their goddamn minds. Like, for them, that was like the peak of like, oh my god, this is amazing, this is the future. Having actually experienced VR, I'm just like, these people would probably just drop dead from just like the overwhelming sensory overload. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of these contraptions. What? Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just open them, and it works. That would be my way of explaining it too. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away what you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints. Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand. And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? I think someone told me with the Stereoscope is they actually did something, because this is originally a DS game, a 3DS game, where they actually used, like, you could look at the Stereoscope with the 3DS and it would create that illusion. But obviously, because this is not on a 3D device, you can't do that. But I thought that was really cool. Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh, are we actually going to be able to do this? Oh, yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? Okay, so it's making us do it like, we just have to do it in the real world. It's not allowing us to, obviously, it doesn't have any sort of, my monitor does not have a 3D function, so... Cross my eyes? I think I can. Oh, I don't think I can cross my eyes. I don't think this is gonna work. Watch me. And see if you can copy. Like, you look at your nose, right? You gotta look down at your nose. Like, try and look where your nose is. Make your eyes do this. Alright. Let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? There. How's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. Oh boy. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. I'm gonna make this my thumbnail. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runo. I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose. Did the print split in two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until... Thank you, game, for just doing it for me, I guess. They form a new single image in the center. Oh, yeah! Mr. Naruhodo, it works. I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I could look at her doing cross-eyed all day. It's hilarious and adorable. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Oh, is it actually gonna... Okay. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Like this, is it? Alright, I'm gonna actually attempt to do this. Obviously, you guys can't see me do this. It's hard because my monitor is so far away from me. So, I gotta get closer. I can sort of get it to work. Not probably as well as you could if you were looking at the 3DS screen. There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So, what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. Then set the pair of photographs on the stand at the back and... It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures. Never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge I'll ever actually need. Oh, you probably will, knowing this game. It's gonna come up, of course. It's like that phenomenon where you learn about a new thing, like a new concept or something, and all of a sudden you just start seeing it everywhere. And that itself, I can't remember what that term is. I actually talked with people about this a little while ago. I looked it up. I think it's like the Higgins something. I'm looking this up because it's going to drive me crazy. Wow, I was way off. It's the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Where did I get Higgs from? Otherwise known as the frequency illusion or recency bias, a situation where something you recently learned about suddenly seems to appear everywhere. That is something that definitely happens in these games a lot. It's like, of course, this thing that we just learned about is integral to the case, of course, right? All right, let's get back to examining. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Wait, no, he liked lions. I'm thinking of the guy from the last case. He liked lions, not horses. Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Rudo? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them, even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. Oh, I know that. I love antiquing. I am an old lady at heart. I love going to antique shops. It's a little bit of a dangerous pastime. This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we must tell Gregsy at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. Yeah, it looks like it's been completely ransacked. Ah, look here. And blood, of course, all over it. Oh, yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. Presumably, Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Ah, well. Mr. Sholmes likes to practice it in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't it right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? Suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha! I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo? That's what you want an 11-year-old to say. Ugh, I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see. When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing? Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. Oh, it's like, the stuff like it, yeah, it turns the color to detect blood. Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. There, does it make sense now? She really is like a little, Emma Skye. I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Oh wow, so it can even tell you, like, what type they are. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color, so you can identify whose blood it is you're looking at. In a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great. So, whose blood are we looking at then? Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so just find someone whose blood turns the same color, and you'll know who it belongs to, in a flash. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it? 1 flash or 2. This could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make note of it in the court record. So all we gotta do is let's go and see if there's any blood in, like, where Windibank fell, and we can connect and see if that was his blood, or if that's someone else's blood. Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have Regent left, sure. So it's like Iris invented, like, blood testing. Very impressive. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh, yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? We can't get away from the stereoscopes, can we? This is a stereoscope? We just talked about this! Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. It's like Ryunosuke has, like, the attention span of a goldfish and the memory of a goldfish. It's just like, we just talked about this. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Ah, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. We just talked about how this little thing is in homes all over London. Did you not remember Iris talking about this? But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I could make money out of these in Japan. It would be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. Alright, what about the camera? We have to see about the camera as well. The camera was by the front door, wasn't it? Okay, before I go there... Yes, can I finally inspect this thing down here that... No! No, not that! Alright, it must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. But clearly Mr. Windibank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Here we go, we're going to talk about stereoscopes again. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware any of this was about to happen. Okay, so I guess I can't check out that camera then. Okay. I guess we should probably head to the storage room now, because that's where we'll see more blood. Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Gregsy said. And see if we can find that box as well. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windibank, face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course. And we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them. Okay, so can we move, I guess? Is that what we have to do? Oh, yeah, there we go. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. She was so gung-ho, like, yeah, blood, and then the reality kind of smacks her in the face. Like, oh yeah, someone actually died that she knows. Ah. Wait, Inspector. What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do you? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me. We're running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little too much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance may go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Eh? Ahem. Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Jesus. You're on level with Sholmes about trying to reassure people. I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes, I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. Yes, for sure, my boy! My fluffy boy! Please let him be okay. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw, you've got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh, yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officer's doing? Quite right, ma'am. Quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible. Oh. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say, she had the gun that was used in her hand. No. Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to the storeroom? I'm guessing there's some sort of, like, escape hatch or something. Because they were talking before about how the, like, the sewer pipes lead to the bank across the street, don't they? Like, someone could get out through the sewer. Pipes, I imagine? And you say the storeroom has been locked from the inside, Inspector. Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend. In something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Compared to some of the other locked rooms I've been dealing with, this will be nothing. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Gregsy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? The thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well... Out with it! Yes, Susato. Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body anesthetized? I probably said that wrong. Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. Oh no, is he like in a coma or something? They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my. No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in his system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. Oh, how convenient that he just happens to be, like, in a anesthetic coma and he can't help us at all. Hurley, the moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. Alright, okay, well, at least we got an update there. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be his blood then, so we can use that stuff for Iris. Ah! I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. And then we just get back into happy music. She'd probably... This is her way of dealing with things, is she can be of use. And, oh, it turned blue. Okay, so... Well, they did say he was just shot once. The other one was green. So now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windibank's blood. So we gotta find out who's got the green blood. And it doesn't match our analysis of the blood stain we found at the main shop. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runo look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we? I shall have to take my own life. It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired. So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings, look. Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling about. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. Oh. Out of all the articles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any signs of being ransacked. Oh, that's probably where the manuscript was. What is it, Iris? That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh. Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely, that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling ya. We must check inside the box at once. Yes. Ah. It was there. Iris's story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. Susato's like, I would like to see that, please, although she's already seen it, apparently, or at least she knew the title of it. Okay, anything else at all here? Oop. Okay, maybe I'll present the manuscripts? I'm not quite sure what to do at this point. Oh, here we go. Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest. Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles. A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And, I don't suppose. Would there be any mentions of my humble self in the tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see, I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? I didn't mean it like that. And even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Okay. What about the blood samples? Can I present those? Oh, I guess not. Could you give me your opinion? We don't tend to share, Sunshine. Not with the general public. In that case, Gregsy, how about some herbal tea? Ah, lovely. Ta very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. You don't mind sharing that, then? Okay, so what do I do at this point? I'll just maybe present some other things, even though he said, like, don't share stuff. Oh, here we go. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what have we here, then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was at hand. Yes, this is the ticket for McGilded's overcoat, the one that little diver turned up with yesterday. Oh, actually no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do ya? No, I didn't mean to, Bruno's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't, of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. A second one. It seems Mr. McGilded, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windibank's. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat. Eh? You mean to tell me? Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue. Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes, all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barkin'. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh, yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here then. That's right, it's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them all at once. Oh, goody. You're wasting your time. Oh, there are dozens of little boxes out there. Hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old. Oh boy, so we're gonna go, let's see if we can search all those boxes then. Yay, I'm assuming that's what we have to do? Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got little price labels on them, but there are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere. The box McGilded deposited here just over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes, it could be any one of them. Mr. Sholmes said a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps the small box in Mr. McGilded's contains something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Hiya! Haven't seen a Susato flip in a while. That sort of misconduct will get you arrested. I won't let that happen. Ah, this takes me back. It's been some time since Susato-san last threw me. He seems almost happy about it. Is there something else here that I'm not... Oh, did I not? I thought I already checked this. Green blood. Just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited it at Windibank's, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yes, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. Alright, the way you can identify differences in people's blood like this is amazing. You really are a genius, Iris. I know. I am. If Hurley and I put our minds to it, we could really shake up Britain's chemists and alchemists. And you could shake up Japan's lawyers and judges, couldn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, for sure, even if I didn't intend to. So I'm not quite sure what to do at this point. I did decide to look at a guide just to see what I'm doing wrong. And apparently, I feel like I've done everything it says I gotta do. It says that a clock is supposed to chime after I talk to Gregson, but that hasn't happened, so... But I'll investigate this to see if... The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Mr. Windibank appears to have used the back of this photograph to write a redemption ticket. He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had to use anything he had to hand. It's hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Wagahai. I always thought that cats like to curl up inside under the heated kotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different. Actually, now we have both pictures. I could have another go at viewing them as stereoscopic image. So, I need to cross my eyes and try to get the two cats to merge in them. I'm not doing this right now. Okay, so nothing there. Like, did this get bugged or something? Because I feel like I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Alright, now here's the thing that I did wrong, apparently. All this time I went all the way back to before investigating the storeroom just to make sure I do it right. And I need to investigate this, the bloodstain. I even mentioned the bloodstain, and I didn't even investigate it. Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. Oh, we could test the blood. I'm such a dummy. We could test the blood with it. We give it to Iris, and she can test the blood. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean? I was, like, losing my mind figuring out what did I do wrong. I just needed to investigate this. Damn it. It looks like blood, doesn't it? I wonder if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, yes, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. Oh, this one damn thing just stopped me in my tracks and I couldn't get any further and I feel really dumb now. Oh, that looks like blood. I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Bruno. You can leave the rest to me. Alright, let's see what color it turns. Oh, purple! It's completely different. So we got a purple, a green, and a blue. Look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. We'll round up all the suspects and we'll just get them to cut their fingers and just draw their blood and see. Well, this particular stain of blood. Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? I think I do. Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. I also know because I looked at a guide because I was going insane trying to figure out what the heck to do. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. That's right. I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Bruno. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe this is the blood of Thrice-Fired Mason. Thrice-Fired Mason. You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case. Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibank's yesterday. I'm suggesting the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Ah! Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint, this mark. But we know Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this. Oh my goodness, please let me... Okay, now I'm going to get to the storeroom. I'm going to do all the stuff I've already done and hope that that is going to let me go forward. I was going insane with this part. I feel really dumb because Iris literally said beforehand is make sure to examine everything, and then I just did not. Oh my god, it finally works now. Oh, I finally got it. Oh, that was an ordeal. Ah! I nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set up such a wicked trap? I doubt he set it to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Rito? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. I never want to come back to this place again. I have been here way too long. Ah, Gina. Good. You're back. Oh. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? He says with a big smile. Eh? Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windibank's. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying, that I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. Eh? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Oh, all right then. Blimey, give it a rest with those eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we've managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windibank's that night. It looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason and thrust it in Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. That is the manuscript, right? Was she doing that just to prove to Iris that Sholmes isn't to be trusted? Wait, I want to present, not, Oh, right, I'm dumb. I have to actually do present. And then, there we go. We found this in Mr. Windibank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Oh. Oh, right. Yeah, she wouldn't have taken it, right? She just wanted to open it up to see if it was there. Right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception, the box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the book containing the manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah! Why don't you tell us what happened, please? We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Ginny, rip 'em up and chuck 'em, would ya? Them representation papers or whatever they're called? The cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So, what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on me own. She just doesn't want to put her faith in adults, right? I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Alright, yeah, this Baskerville story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured, it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh, she is just like, no, she just wanted to... She wanted to do that for Iris, not for her. Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? Iris is like, damn, I've been getting ripped off. So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No, Ginny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript, or whatever you call it, really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Ah. It's like, I didn't think... knowing Gina, I would think her more to be like, yeah, I was doing it for the money. We knew why you did it for the... Yeah, we knew why you done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But... I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you'd said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling ya, that manuscript ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see it if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest? If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windibank's? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me anyway. Last night, when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean, they're not even the adventures of a great detective, so much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner. Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I hate this chummy nonsense, do you hear? I hate it. I thought she was gonna give us the finger. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. Oh! What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Oh, okay. Ah, yes, because we can get it tested, right? See whose blood that is, although we might already know. Nope, that's not what we want. We want the blood sample portfolio. There we go. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So, could it be blood that splattered for Mr. Windibank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Eh? Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. Oh, purple. Purple, purple. That was... or like pink? It's so weird on my monitor. It's showing two different colors. It's showing more of like a kind of indigo on my one screen. It's showing more of like a true purple on my other screen. Which one was that? The purple. That was on the thumb, right? That was Mr. Mason's blood. Oh. Oh my. What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we hadn't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Aha, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What? What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. We can see now the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilded's stomach, or coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Shocker. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Runo, did you believe him, though? Did you believe McGilded was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Listen, Ryunosuke, we lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief. Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So, I believe you, unwaveringly. What's funny, Gina? Core, sounds like this in Empire Japan you come from. Everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. I trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. I wonder what would have happened if I said I didn't trust her. Maybe I should have done that. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruhodo? She pronounces Japanese names like I do. Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off me tongue, and I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago, and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. Eh? It's true that I'm just a student of law. I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What do you expect me to say to that? Aww. Then it's decided. I'll take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now, after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern Lot are... I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out all right in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, oh, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato? Somebody's there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? I wonder if it's, what's his face? The vampire dude. Blimey, you're sharp, eh? Or not? No, that definitely is not him. Ah, Gregson. I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy. Oh, dear me. I'm most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? She's like, I'm going to write this on my next manuscript. Good grief. Listen in. No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave, even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived. This very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is. Nothing untoward. Nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye, and bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted. Charmed. Can't wait. If you please. My pleasure. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gregsy's so funny. He says such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. I'm hoping something's gonna stop her, but I don't know. Naruhodo-san, it's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested. All on the back of the news her father's fallen ill. She must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is. that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task. I have so many questions to ask her. Oh, okay, well, I mean, it looks like I can ask her quite a bit here. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. It's so sad that it's going to take her more time to get home than the time she spent here. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. That you're better than me at everything. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets. And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. That was very poetic. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping one day it will all become clear, that all the facets will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san, I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh, no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Oh, she looked like a proud mom. Do you know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. Oh, damn, I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh, my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What's that? Some huge bundle of documents. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, she always comes through with, like, her random book full of knowledge. It's like, without that, I wonder if we'll be able to have Iris at our side to help out, because, I mean, I don't know, Ryunosuke, how's he gonna do on his own? It seems to me this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. Damn, like, where does she find the time? With everything else she's had to think about, Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that we'll bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. What? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. Damn, she's gonna leave him. I have so many questions about her, like how she knew about the Baskerville, the book, what she means by that. Damn, I hope she's at least gonna come back in the sequel. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Aw, wait. There's something I need to say. Hiya! She's like, I'll put you to bed. God damn it. What was that? A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. Aw. Susato-san. That was very sweet. Aw. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. Or maybe Susato just came and choked him out until he passed out. Oh! The hospital! Are we gonna get to see... Oh my gosh, I forgot about Sholmes. Are we gonna get to see Sholmes? Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Sholmes! He's all better. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. He's talking to Susato, I'm guessing. Yeah. My dear madam. Interesting about, like, putting things back in their place. That's, what's all that about? Alright, so that will do it for this episode. My goodness, that took me longer than usual just because I got stuck on that one part in the pawn shop. But we got a lot of new information, learning more about the case being connected to McGilded. Susato, it seems like she is going. I was hoping maybe something would happen to stop her. Sholmes is awake. I'm so happy Sholmes is up. Maybe he'll actually come to the trial. Maybe maybe my boy Holmes. I'm sorry, Sholmes. My boy Sholmes will be by my side at the trial. I want that so much. And then that whole thing with Gina was very sweet. Learning to trust people. So I guess we're going to be getting into the trial in the next episode, the last trial of this game, and as I know from previous Ace Attorney games, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a doozy, so we'll probably be at least a couple of episodes for that. So I hope you guys are looking forward to the trial in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Sparky, Dumbass Loser, Tequila Mockingbird, Punt Cake G, Joel Ostman, Harry Gazif, Asborn Kennedy, Icognito, Jared Fan, and Pirate.